Hi, this is Big Papa Grump from the Board of Doom, and this is my April 3rd Raw recap. Show opened with Roman Reigns coming out to a chorus of hate. And it actually ended up being my all-time favorite Roman Reigns promo, because I'm not a big Roman Reigns hater. I understand why people have an issue with him. I don't have the same issue. I know he's, seen as limited and all that, and he does have his shortcomings, but I don't find him as uncompelling or horrible as everybody else does. I kind of like Reigns. He's not my favorite, but I don't hate him. So seeing him come out and kind of troll the fans was kind of cool. Stood there for what seemed about the entire show. It was probably closer to about 10 minutes before he just said, "This is my yard now," and walked away. I thought it was kind of a cool segment to open the show. Shows Reigns kind of maybe changing his character a little bit, not necessarily turning heels, but kind of just huge chip on the shoulder, which may end up being a good thing in the long run as far as the way fans will accept Reigns. We'll see if it works out, or if Vince just says, "No, make him Cena." Next came the first title defense of the new Raw Tag Team Champions, the Hardy Boys, defending against Gallows and Anderson. Very conflicted on this. One, you knew that the Hardys weren't going to drop the belts right away. Nice to see them back on Raw. I still hate what they're doing with Gallows and Anderson. They've just really neutered any kind of heat that they had. But it was a serviceable match because both teams can go. They put a decent match together in a short amount of time. There wasn't anything really worth, nothing notable other than the fact that, hey, the Hardys are back. So next came the Cruiserweight Championship match between Neville and Mustafa Ali. The Cruiserweights always put on a good show, whether the crowd always appreciates it or not, because they put on a good match, but they're never given enough time to put on the type of matches that the Cruiserweights are capable of. Anybody who watched any of the Cruiserweight Classic knows exactly what I'm talking about. So seeing Neville got to do his thing, and it was nice little showcase for Mustafa Ali, but it didn't really go anywhere. The ending was really cool. Mustafa Ali got a chance to show off a little bit at the end, but it was basically just an extended squash match for Neville. Next came out Vince McMahon to announce, in what was probably the worst kept secret in all of WWE from the WrestleMania weekend, which was Kurt Angle being the general manager of Raw. It's fun to see Kurt back. Everybody wants to see him in the ring. I want to see him in the ring. But I'm just happy he's back at all. So I'll take this until, and then once I get sick and tired of just seeing him as general manager, then I'm going to start getting mad that he's not wrestling, although the rumor's out there, and he's kind of put it out there that he wants to wrestle, and he might actually have an angle with which to get back into the ring, but we'll see if that actually pans out. But for now, I'm just happy he's back. Next, we get to my second favorite moment of Monday Night Raw, which was the New Day coming out issuing an open challenge. I guess the idea being, hey, we didn't get to do anything at WrestleMania other than crack jokes, so we're going to get back in the ring. And so they issued the open challenge, which was answered by the Revival. And, being the second biggest Revival fan in my house, I love the Revival. I grew up during the old NWA days with, Ole and Arn and Tully, those old school, mechanical tag teams that I just loved. And the Revival, obviously, that's their whole shtick, is they're bringing back old school tag team wrestling. So happy to see them. Happy they're on Raw, because Raw's tag, they got a weird kind of situation going on with their tag teams where, you've got the Hardys back, yay. You've got Cesaro, yay. But then you're not doing anything with Gallows and Anderson, and as I've said before, I'm going to reserve all talk of Enzo and Cass for a whole other thing whenever they really piss me off and I get to go off on them. But other than that, so the tag teams are kind of dead, kind of half dead, half alive, and then here comes the Revival. So you've got all kinds of interesting possibilities. The Revival, they can have a great match with anyone. So happy they're on Raw. They got the win, which was nice. You knew that was going to happen when Xavier Woods was in, because anytime Xavier's in, the New Day tends to lose. I don't know why. Xavier's great. And next came the 6-woman tag match between Bayley, Sasha Banks, Dana Brooke against Nia Jax, Charlotte, and Emma, a returning Emma. Nice to see Emma back. Not even going to go mention the whole Emelina thing other than to say, thank God that's over with. Not a whole lot going on in that match until the end. Charlotte got angry after absorbing a loss, started yelling at her teammates. Nia Jax obliterated her. It was kind of funny to watch Emma just kind of be, nope, that's all you. So that was kind of neat to see. And it looks like with the rumors of Charlotte going to SmackDown with that whole Superstar shakeup thing and the just the way it played out, looks like you might get a face turn for Charlotte. Could be interesting. So then you have the new Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, along with his advocate, Paul Heyman, come out and essentially challenge Roman Reigns. Which, okay, I'm fine if you're going to jump right into a program with Reigns. I mean, you could do worse coming right out of WrestleMania, especially considering Reigns is coming off the whole, I just retired The Undertaker, this is my yard, and Brock Lesnar's like, I'm Brock Lesnar. So, but then the challenge was answered by Braun Strowman. And this was kind of weird because Strowman kind of got just wasted in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So then you have him come out and he kind of challenges Lesnar. He says when he's done with Roman Reigns, he'll be waiting for him. So it's like, why didn't you just come out and punch him in the mouth? Because it's kind of what you do. It was kind of clear as to it's like, wait, if I thought you were done with Roman Reigns. Did you actually mean to say when Brock Lesnar's done with Roman Reigns, or what? What were you trying to say there? So it was a little confusing, at least to me. But it's still okay. I would like to see Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman. I don't want to see a long feud with those two, but I would like to see those two go at it because I think Braun Strowman's underrated. He does a lot more in the ring than he gets credit for, although lately he's been getting a lot more credit. So he's starting to come along. The fans are starting to appreciate what he does in the ring a little bit more than just, yelling and stomping on people like he was doing earlier because it was supposed to show he's a big monster. So I wouldn't mind seeing that program. All right, next you had the #1 contenders match for the Raw Tag Team Championship between Enzo and Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus. Cesaro won. That's basically the only thing that came out of it. It was what it was, and like I've addressed or hinted at my dislike of Enzo and Cass, and I'll get to that when it's more prudent. But yeah, I'm happier to see them challenging the Hardys because I think that's got a chance to be a much better match than Big Cass and Enzo just taking on the Hardys directly. Just talk about the stuff from backstage. I loved the stuff with Kurt Angle, Sami Zayn, Jinder Mahal. Angle is back. He's just being Angle. While funny Angle wasn't always my favorite Angle, Angle's funny moments are some of the funniest moments from WWE television. So happy to see that they're giving him a chance. He's not overdoing it. He's not playing the ham like straight up for all laughs. But seeing them reintroduce funny Angle was kind of neat. Then you got the match between Sami Zayn and Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal will never win a big match on Raw. The guy had Roman Reigns beat and let it slip away, and I understand it was Roman Reigns, but it sends a message. If you're wrestling Jinder Mahal, you're going to put on a pretty good match and win. That's just the way it is. This is, although since it was at the expense of Sami Zayn, I'm way better with it because Jinder Mahal is underrated, but he's not going to go. They're not going to give him a top push, especially with the guys in the way. But rebuilding Sami Zayn at the expense of Jinder Mahal, if it was anybody other than Sami Zayn, I would probably have more of a problem with it. But Sami Zayn has been criminally underused. Earlier in the night, they had announced a tag match between Seth Rollins and Chris Jericho, Samoa Joe, and Kevin Owens. So prior to the main event, Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens attacked and took out Chris Jericho. We had been sitting around wondering how they were going to work Finn Balor back into the storyline for Raw. Like, where was he going to fit? Who was he going to come out against? And then as soon as they announced that tag match, I'm like thinking to myself, they're either going to take out Seth or they're going to take out Jericho. Well, they took out Jericho, which made more sense, especially if they're writing him off TV. And so Seth comes out. So they brought back Finn Balor. Happy to see him. Love Finn Balor. one of my favorite guys on the roster, has been since I went back and started watching old NXT on the network. Seeing him come back, I was happy. I mean, I was like ecstatic when he won the Universal Championship. I was ecstatic when he was drafted to Raw. So to see him come back after the injury, yes, it is a little weird that he came to Seth Rollins' aid, but it also could just be one of those, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and he happened to be wrestling Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, someone with whom he has had intense rivalries with in the past. So happy to see Balor's return, happy to see Emma back, you know, and thrilled that the Revivals finally got their call up. All right, so that was this week's Monday Night Raw. I've been Big Papa Grump from the Board of Doom. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.